momentarily, I'm going to be calling Charlie Bejna. I've already made contact with him, so the Skype will work. It's going to be the format, if you have a question, you're going to come up and make a line, starting behind this pole, a straight line. When you have your question and you're ready to begin, you're going to come right up to this screen and speak to Charlie. Does anybody have any questions before we begin? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
we can hear you.
Good.
How are you doing, Charlie?
Good. I'm doing really good. First of all, I'd like to say good afternoon to all the students there at Hampton Academy, New Hampshire. And I'd like to thank everyone for the donation from the school. And currently, right now, it's about 22 degrees here in Kinnick, Alaska.
It's a bit colder than here.
Do you have something in your hands that you want to show us, Charlie?
Sure. Let me walk over and I'll grab a little present that was. And Yukon and Hawk are the mom and dad, and these puppies were born on Christmas. So these puppies are about a little bit about 6 weeks old right now, and they are now eating on their own and stuff like that. I weaned the mother from them probably about 3 or 4 days ago. So they're we're driving her crazy a little bit and stuff, but now they're all they're doing really well. They look, really healthy and stuff like that. So we'll see what these look like next year.
So, can you tell us a little bit about the race? Is it starting in its original location, Charlie?
The race actually, there were 7 members that flew the trail yesterday afternoon, and the announcement was made last night that the official start will now start in Fairbanks. So it's going to be a new start for me because I've never started there. This is the second time they have started in Fairbanks in 42 years of the race. And there's some new checkpoints out there that they're working on putting together and stuff like that. So it's kind of exciting. The thing is, instead of starting on Sunday, the race, and it starts on Monday because we all have to drive up there, and it's about a 7 or 8 hour drive from where I'm at. So we'll leave the day before, and then the race starts Monday morning at 10 a.m. And the reason for the change was really bad trail conditions, lack of snow, and a lot of ice in some of the bad areas, and just not safe for us to go through it like we did last year. So kind of excited. I mean, they took out a lot of the bad parts, and a lot of the race now will just basically be on the rivers, and which sometimes gets kind of boring for the dogs and stuff like that. But I'm excited. I'm excited for the decision and where it's going to start.
Hi, Charlie.
Hello,
Dave.
how are you?
I'm Dave. I'm the principal. Thank you for joining us.
Sure, no problem.
You just mentioned why they moved the race. Have you heard what's happening in New Hampshire over the last 3 weeks?
Yep, lots of snow.
We have about 72. We're on the coast, and we're in the southern part of the state. We got about 72 inches in the last 14 days. And
wow.
Guess what? You're 5 degrees warmer than we are right now.
Oh, really? Yeah. We seem to be warmer than everybody. We've had a couple, about a week of cold spell where we had, in the negative teens and stuff like that. But actually this weekend it's supposed to be about 37, 38 degrees. So we're supposed to have about a week of warm weather and then get back to cold again. So it's really different weather pattern. So.
Charlie, we have a lot of kids here I want to ask you. I have one more question. It's kind of a two-part
Sure.
one. How many years have you been doing the race?
This is my 3rd year.
3rd year. And And I understand that you have type 1 diabetes. Tell me how that adjusts your approach to this race, or just the endurance factor of it.
It's a little bit tough on me, and it's definitely a little bit more of a challenge out there, because if something does happen to me, since I'm diabetic, there's not a lot of help out there, because there's a lot of checkpoints in between that are like 60, 70, 100 miles in between. So my main thing is I need to focus on making sure my blood sugar is at the proper levels, and make sure that I have plenty of sugary snacks out there in case I do have low blood sugar, and make sure that my insulin doesn't freeze in my insulin pump. So it's a little bit more of a challenge. It's a lot of extra steps that I need to take, but it's well worth it. So it's just, you got to really just take care of yourself.
Yep. Well, again, thank you for joining us, and we got a line of kids here. Thank you. Best of luck.
Sure. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Go ahead.
How many should you?
Sure.
Do you keep a blog during the race that?
Hold on a second. We're gonna give you a mic.
Do you keep a blog during the race that we could read to keep up with you?
During the race, we pretty much, we can't take cell phones on the race, and I'm going to see if I can have somebody have either something on Facebook or on the website where I'm at and stuff like that. But I pretty much have no communications with anybody until after the race, and afterwards I'll put a story of how the race went and stuff like that. But I'm going to try to have somebody that can kind of have some knowledge of where I'm at, and this way people could follow online. And also through Iditarod.com, they'll have live tracking on us and stuff like that, where you can also follow us.
Okay, sounds good.
Sure, thank you.
Thanks.
Sure, thank you.
I'm Amanda.
I'm Maggie.
Have you ever
How are you?
gotten frostbite or
Have you ever had a?
Can you repeat that? Sorry.
Have you ever had a significant injury during a race?
During the race, no, I haven't. I haven't really. I mean, sometimes you'll get knocked off your sled, or you'll, knock into a tree or whatnot. But I never had any major injuries, and pretty much not even any minor injuries. So, and as far as the dogs, they haven't really had any major injuries. Just minor, like wrist injuries or a shoulder issue, but nothing major whatsoever. Thank you.
do you earn a living from racing, or is that a hobby?
It's a hobby I have. It's kind of addicting, so it's not my real job or anything like that. So it's a hobby for the wintertime.
Do you shower on the race?
Can you repeat that?
Good question. Good question.
Do you shower during the race?
Oh, good question. I try to at least maybe once or twice if there is, but a lot of the checkpoints we go to, there's really no facilities for us to. So if we do it one time, we're lucky.
What do you look forward to the most from the race?
I look forward to being out there with my dogs as they're a year older now, and most of them have experience. So I look forward to just traveling to the different villages and obviously getting to the finish line. That's my main goal, obviously, again. And I'm hoping to do pretty well this year. I want to be pretty much in the middle of the pack, if not higher. So.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Is there a specific diet that is best for your dogs that might be different than a typical house dog?
Give me 1 second, because give me 1 second. I'm gonna have to go inside because the dogs are all barking and I can't hear you. So give me 1 second. Let me walk inside.
Just
Okay, go ahead.
Is there a specific diet that is best for your dogs that might be different than a typical house dog?
Yeah, the pretty much all the race dogs are on like a really, really high-fat diet and high protein, and you know they get their kibble, they get lots of fish and lots of beef and beef fat and stuff. So it's definitely a totally different food procedure than you would for a house dog.
What specific clothing do you wear on the trail? What do you pack more than? Do you pack many articles of clothing, or we wear the same outfit for days?
I usually pack a lot of like neck gaiters, which is kind of what I'm wearing right now. I pack one of those for each checkpoint. I pack a pair of socks for each checkpoint, kind of like a base layer. And I carry a lot of extra stuff with me, just in case, you know, it gets really wet, let's say if it is raining on the trail. But usually my outer shell, my jacket, that's usually the same one all the time, but everything else I change pretty often. So, and all the stuff I wear is basically all Cabela's wear. I think it's the best stuff out there as far as the conditions that, you know, that we're in and stuff like that. So I've tested a lot of things, and I kind of feel that that's my best one. So. Sure, thank you.
Do you ever feel lonely on the trail?
Sometimes I do. If you're out there on the trail and it's especially nighttime, that seems like once the sun goes down and everything, and then it's just pitch dark out there, and you feel a little bit lonely at times, especially if you're out there and there's no other mushers in front of you or behind you, and you're kind of just by yourself. Yeah, it gets lonely, but you try not to let it bother you, and you have all your dogs in front of you and stuff like that, so they're kind of your company along the trail.
How do you pass the time?
Pretty much talk to my dogs quite a bit. I'm going to bring some music with me this year. I haven't in the past because I wanted to concentrate on the dogs and you know, see how they're doing and stuff. But now that they changed the route to Fairbanks, it's a lot of rivers and stuff. So we're not doing a lot of hill climbing. So I think music will be a good choice this year to kind of pass the time. Each dog musher for Iditarod, you're solo. You're by yourself. Last year I traveled with Anna Barrington, and this year we might travel the same. It might be like me, Anna, and Christy, and maybe some other people. But it's nice to kind of travel in like a group of mushers, because then if you do have an issue, you know, they can help you out, or you can help them out, or you know, if something does happen along the trail, there's somebody close by with you. So my first year I liked traveling by myself, but now it'd be nice to travel with a group of people.
How do you go to the bathroom? Do you stop on the trail, or do you wait all day?
No, they pretty much go as you're running them. I mean, we do stop like every 2 to 3 hours. We'll stop and snack the dogs, and a lot of them will go then. If not, they'll go as you're running. I know it's probably hard to imagine that they could do that, but they absolutely do. So if we stopped every time, we'd probably never get there.
Thanks.
Sure, thank you.
What inspired you to do this in your career?
Very good question. I guess I make a lot of goals for myself in my life, and I try to always want to meet them. And pretty much like when I was, you know, your group's age, I followed it. Like, I didn't have internet at the time, which I know is kind of strange, but we didn't have internet at the time, so I pretty much like either read it in a book or a magazine, or followed it throughout the newspaper. And then once, you know, the race, once I got older and we were able to have internet and stuff like that, I followed it on there, and I said, you know, it'd be nice to try something like that. I never thought in my life I'd be able to do it, but I pretty much like to set goals for myself and work at them, and it feels good to kind of meet all your goals and everything.
What are some of the hardships?
I'd say a lot of the hardships are, I'd say probably trying to stay awake and just make sure that, you know, your dogs are doing well, and I guess trail conditions, and pretty much taking care of myself. Those are probably the hardest things, is making sure that, you know, that you're doing well on the trail and like all the dogs are healthy and everything.
How many dogs do you have in total?
I have a total of probably about 45 right now. So I can pan, you know, the kennel and stuff, and you guys can kind of see like what the dogs. I have a neighbor's dog that's loose here, but so I'll pan the kennel, and you guys can kind of see. It might be a little bit loud because they're barking and stuff like that, but. So that's pretty much what we have here for dogs. We kind of have the puppies separated, and then we have like our main ones are up front and stuff like that. Like this one here is Yukon, and he's pretty much my where are Yukon? He's pretty much my main leader here. So I usually keep these guys up front and stuff like that. And he's 3 years old, so he's been the gnome. He's pretty much finished every race that I've been in, so he's a very good asset to the team.
And what kind of breeds are most of your dogs?
All my dogs are all, none of them are purebreds, but they're all Alaskan Husky mix. So they have kind of like a thinner coat on them. I'm trying to show you here, but I mean, Yukon's got a little bit a thicker one, but they really don't look like Alaskan Malamutes or anything, but they're just a Husky mix, and he's kind of got like a little bit more of a leaner body, kind of long-legged and kind of a thinner coat and stuff. So when we are out on the race, when it does get really cold, we do have to, you know, obviously put dog coats on them and stuff like that. So that's pretty much the breed that I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do the dogs wear any kind of jacket?
Can you repeat?
Do the dogs wear any kind of jacket?
Yes. When it gets really cold out, I'd probably say like maybe like 15, 20 below. That's usually when we start coating the dogs. And I probably should have had one out, but I'll put a picture of it on the website as far as like how the dog coat. But all it is like a kind of like a windproof coat that goes over them, and it goes over their harness, and it keeps them really warm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
What personality traits do you look for in a good, what personality traits do you look for in a good dog?
Very good question. Very good question. Personality traits that I look for in a dog is one that's obviously going to listen to you, one that is very observant, and that works really hard, and that's not. I had a couple dogs that I gave back to GB Jones, which I was at his place last year. I had one that he loaned me for a little while, and I didn't like how she pulled. She kind of pulled to the side, and she didn't run straight. And the other one was kind of the same way. And not saying that they're bad dogs, but they're not something that I'm looking for, because it'll hurt the team down the road because they're not working as hard. So you want to look for a dog that has got good feet, keeps weight on very well, and obviously listens to you and runs and works really hard and stuff. And I have, for sure, I know I have 13 really good, well-working dogs here. The other ones are still in training and up and coming, but that's pretty much the traits I look for in a dog. Thank you.
Are male and female dogs the same in terms of their ability to be a sled dog, or is one preferred?
Yeah, another good question. I would say, females and males, I think sometimes the females listen a little bit better. Maybe the ones that I have, But as far as like endurance and stuff, I have pretty much equal. I have really two good leaders, brown and black, and they're really small dogs, and they listen really well. They're both female. And then I have like some wheel dogs that are really, really hard workers, and they're males. But I can show you a picture of brown and black, about a size of what they are for a female. Here, Brown, come here. So she's a little bit smaller, like than Yukon and stuff, but I gotta have about 3 females like this, and that's what my females look like, a little bit smaller.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Nick. What do you think are the personality traits you need to be a musher and compete in this event?
Sorry, can you repeat? Brown, be quiet.
What do you think are the personality traits you need to be a musher and compete in this event?
Personality traits, I would say you gotta really be in good physical condition to, you know, take place as a dog musher and compete in races. Good physical, have a good head on your shoulders, obviously, and just love animals and be able to take care of them, because it's kind of like, you know, these 45 dogs are my family, so they need to get fed every day, and it's a really, really big responsibility, and you have to enjoy it. If you don't enjoy dogs or want to be out in 30 below weather, then it's not really going to be fun for you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. The dogs must have a lot of training, but what specific training do you do as a musher?
Another good question. I usually don't do any physical training. I mean, I'm always out here with the dogs. I'm always like feeding them and obviously cleaning up after them, and I'm usually always working like behind the sled. When you're on the dog sled, I'm either ski poling or I'm paddling with my foot and stuff like that. So I pretty much keep in shape that way. I'm always kind of walking around doing things and stuff, so it's hard for me to sit around and like watch TV and stuff. I'm always active, and then in the summertime I'm really active in landscaping and stuff like that. Do a lot of walking and shoveling and wheelbarrowing and stuff like that. So I pretty much stay active that way. I know some mushers go to the gym all the time and stay in shape and stuff, but I really don't do anything like that because I'm pretty tired at the end of each day from taking care of the dogs.
All right, thank you.
Sure, thank you.
I'm Hunter.
I'm Ethan.
How you guys doing?
Have you ever drove the dogs over like ice?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Have you ever driven the dogs over like ice?
Give me 1 second. Hawk. Shh. I know you said something about the ice, but can you repeat one more time? Sorry.
Have you ever crossed ice when you're swimming with your dogs?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're on the ice a lot of times. On the trails and stuff like that. Even training trails, we go across some very large rivers, and we get dragged sometimes along the ice, and it's not fun because it's hard to kind of get up on when you're just on the bare ice. The dogs slip around a lot more. If we are going across like large areas of solid ice, I usually take the booties off the front of the dog's feet so they can grip on a little bit better, and then the back booties we leave on so they can grip a little bit better.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, thank you.
How long does it typically take to train a dog?
Another good question. Usually, I'd say probably for like Iditarod and stuff, I'm training dogs almost 6 months for them to take place in the race. So in like summertime, you'll go on some fun runs, or you send them up to a glacier and get trained. So probably like a good year of training for them, maybe a little bit less to get them trained up to do like a long distance race. And right now, pretty much all the dogs here have done, some races and stuff like that. And right now we're just trying to maintain their ability just to keep them like exercise. So right now I'm only doing like maybe 25, 35-mile runs, and that's all we'll do until Iditarod, because we've done a lot of 100-mile runs and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a long process to get the dogs trained up for that. Probably not have the wind. I absolutely hate the wind. It's horrible. It knocks down a lot of the trail markers, and especially when you're on the coast and you're going across, glare ice and stuff like that, you could easily get turned around out there and get lost. And the wind is absolutely, I hate it. So that's the biggest thing. If there wasn't like any wind out there, I'd probably be happy, and probably a little more snow that there has been in the past. Okay. Other than that, like trail and stuff like that, I'm happy with how everything is.
I was wondering if you had a GoPro and if you could like make a video of the Iditarod.
I don't have a GoPro. I was thinking of taking one, but that's kind of like one more thing I have to worry about, and batteries to take with it, and if it gets lost or stolen or whatnot. So I know there's been a couple mushers last year that it did have GoPros on them, and if you YouTube I believe Jeff Kane, he had a GoPro on some of the bad areas, and if you he had a GoPro, so if you go onto YouTube and do Jeff Kane Iditarod, and he'll have a helmet cam on him, and it shows how dangerous we went through last year. I mean, he's falling down a lot, and dogs are, you can't stop them and stuff. So that's a really awesome video that he had on there. You can check that out, but I personally don't have one.
Okay.
Sure, thanks.
What kind of music do you listen to during the race?
A little bit of everything. Some country music, some pretty much a little bit of everything. So I haven't really picked stuff out yet. This will be my first year I'm listening to it, but I'd say probably country is probably what I listen to the most of.
Cool.
When you aren't racing or training, how do you spend your free time?
Pretty much taking care of the dogs. So I watch a little bit of TV, usually every night, maybe about an hour, and then just kind of do like business things or things around the kennel and stuff. So I don't get a lot of free time. I kind of wish I had more, but if I do get some, maybe I'll, go out to eat with my girlfriend, or we'll just maybe watch a movie or whatnot. But it's a lot of work having all these dogs here. So I mean, there's always something to do with them.
And I'm doing the Iditarod next year.
Yes, I do. I plan on doing it again. I have a lot of young, up-and-coming dogs, and with that litter from the pups that everyone saw earlier, they'll probably be training for that next year. And then I have 8 other ones that were born in May that I need to check them out and stuff. And pretty much a lot of my team are like 3 and 4-year-olds, so they're probably pretty much in their prime time right now. So yeah, I definitely will be running again next year. Good question. You have to start with, I believe it's 14 you have to start with, but pretty much everybody starts with 16 dogs. And then I believe they change the rule a little bit. I think you have to have 6 dogs to finish with. So you're able to drop 10 dogs. So last year I finished with 10 dogs.
Besides like coats and hats and stuff, what other gear do you use on the
what other gear do I use? Like snow pants, a lot of neck gaiters, hats. I use a pair of beaver mitts, a lot of liner gloves. What else do I use? That's really about it. So I pretty much, choose that type of clothing, and I usually only just have one pair of boots I send out. So a lot of people send boots to like half of the checkpoints and stuff, but it gets kind of pricey when you're buying all those boots.
Cool. Who is your favorite dogs?
Pretty much all my dogs are my favorite. Obviously, I really love my leaders because they're the ones that you kind of spend a little bit more time with, and they're the ones listening to you and getting you to where you need to go safely and following the right trail and stuff. So, but pretty much all my dogs are my favorite stuff.
Well, thanks for the info.
Sure, thank you.
Have you ever seen wolves?
Good question. I've seen some, you hear wolves out there at nighttime, like howling. I've seen some Arctic foxes out there, and some rabbits you've seen out there, obviously some moose, but never seen a wolf out there yet. So I hope I don't either. Because it probably won't be fun.
What happens to the dogs when they get dropped? Like,
when they get dropped, they're fed by the volunteers, and then what they do is they fly them out to, they fly them out of the checkpoint, and then they take them to Anchorage, and then they call your handler, and then they come and pick them up. So pretty much, any dog that's dropped, they're really well taken care of.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
How much does it cost to run the race?
A lot of money. I try not to think about what it costs, but probably on average, you're probably looking at I'd say maybe between, I don't know, maybe $30,000 to $40,000, maybe a little bit more. Just to sign up for the race is $3,000, and then by the time you get all your gear and buying dog food and stuff like that, but probably for an entire racing season, it's probably between 30 and 40, maybe even more. Depends on how many dogs you have.
How do your dogs adapt to the weather?
Good question. They adapt to the weather really well. As the temperatures change, the colder it gets, you have to feed more fat because they use their body fat to keep warm. Obviously, when it's really cold out, and when it's not as cold, you don't have to feed them as much fat and maybe just more beef. So they pretty much adapted very well to it. Your feeding schedules kind of change here and there. Like during the race, we send out just a lot of different types of food and pretty much give them everything and anything they can possibly eat because you want to keep their calories going in their body and everything like that.
That's really amazing.
Thanks.
What happens if one of the dogs gets injured on the trail?
If they get injured, it depends on what happens. I'll just use an example. Let's say a dog gets a shoulder or a wrist injury. You will stop the team, and then you will take that dog off the line, and then you will load that dog into your sled basket, and then you will carry him to the next checkpoint, and then you'll ask a vet and say, hey, I have a dog that's got a wrist injury, and they will give you their opinion on it. And most likely, if they got a wrist injury, you can either massage it with some medicated lotion. You can put a wrist wrap on it, and you can always use a hand warmer to put heat on it, because any type of injury that a dog has, heat will definitely help the dog get better. And it depends on the severity of it, but you can drop the dog or you can continue with it. It depends on how bad it is. I mean, I've had a dog, Canyon, but she's really small, and she had a shoulder injury most of the race, and every checkpoint I medicated it, massaged it, and she did, 6 hours later, she was good to go again. So pretty much every injury is kind of different, and as per dog.
What happens when you're tired? Do you stop or do you keep going?
You try to have some energy drinks and maybe some protein bars that kind of keep you up, kind of get caffeine in your body. If you are really tired, you definitely should stop and take a little nap. Even an hour rest is it does huge. Just closing your eyes for that 1 hour and taking a nap just does wonders.
What was the goal this year for you?
I'd say this last year was probably my funnest year, being my first finish and my second Iditarod was probably my funnest. This year probably will be my probably best Iditarod, I would say, because I got more knowledge of the trail and I think my dogs are better.
Have you met any friends during the Iditarod?
Yep, I met a lot of good friends. Actually met my girlfriend on the while I did Iditarod, well actually a little bit before I did Iditarod. So yeah, you meet a lot of nice people out there, and since we're all kind of, it's not like a big group of mushers, but since it's a small group, we all kind of have a lot in common. So yeah, it's a fun bunch of mushers to be with.
Which one of your dogs is the fluffiest?
My fluffiest one, I don't think I really have one. I'm looking around here. Probably the puppies, I would say right now, because they're not growing out, but everybody else is not really that fluffy whatsoever.
Thank you.
Sure, thanks.
Have any of your dogs run away?
None of them. I could pretty much let any of my dogs here at the kennel, let them off their chain, and they all stick around right here. None of them will run off, and I do a lot of that in early training in the fall time. I'll let a dog loose, like 2 or 3 of them at a time, and just kind of let them run around and let them get to know where their boundaries are. But in a race, you cannot do that. You have to keep all the dogs hooked up, and you just hope that you don't lose one, because if you lose a dog out there on the trail, then you're pretty much, your race is over until you find it.
Thanks.
Sure.
Who's your oldest dog?
Good question. My oldest dog here is Bernie and Tundra, and Bernie he'll be 10 years old in July. So I don't know if I'm gonna take him during this Iditarod. I've usually had to drop him the last 2 Iditarods because he couldn't keep up with the team, and age is pretty much against him. He's a really good lead dog. So I still have to make a decision if I'm taking him, but he's 9 years old. You couldn't tell he's 9, but he's just getting tired of racing. So this will be his last year of racing. Then he'll probably become a house dog, or I'll give him away.
Great, thank you. Who's your most experienced dog?
What can you repeat?
Most experienced.
I'd probably say Yukon, who I have right here. He's led pretty much all my races for me. We did a race about 2 weeks ago, and we came in 3rd place, and he worked his tail off. He really worked hard, and he listens to me, and yeah, he's my most experienced. So, and he's 3 years old. So I love this guy wouldn't trade him for anything in the world. So he means a lot, and he just really works hard.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Yukon? Huh?
Who's your most valued dog to your pack?
I'd probably say Yukon I have here. He's pretty much one of my most valuable ones. Another 2 dogs, I mean, they're all valuable to me. I'd probably say Yukon is the most, and then I probably would go with probably Kodiak and Grizzly. I'll show you guys them. They're really 2 good dogs. Also, they're 2 brothers, and they work really hard. They're cool. He's kind of a smaller male dog. Works really hard all the time. Never gives up, and he's kind of like a class clown kind of. He's always kind of goofing around, but when we're on the trail, he's all business. So, sure, thank you. Codes. Sure, Chris.
race?
Can you repeat?
How you and the puppies feel about the race?
How do the puppies?
About the race.
Say it again.
I still.
How is you and the puppies feel about the race?
We feel good about it. I think the dogs are they're trained up a lot better, I think, from previous years, and they're got a more experience on them from my other two Iditarod. So I think we'll feel pretty good about it. How are you?
Who or what inspired you to start racing?
I probably would say like Bruce Linton. He's another type 1 diabetic, and when I found out that, you know, he was running Iditarod with the same, you know, condition that I had, I said, well, if he can do it, I guess I can. And even though I always had a doubt in my mind that I couldn't, but he pretty much inspired me to continue, you know, like dog mushing, and since he was, you know, same situation and everything. Kodiak, stop it. So that's pretty much what inspired me. So I kind of like to see what other diabetics do and try to, you know, do the same thing that they could.
How hours a day do your dogs train?
Good question. I'd say probably 6 hours a day, sometimes 7 hours. Like if we go on a 30-mile run, we're usually doing about 9 miles an hour. So by the time we hook dogs up and go out on the run, it's probably like about 3.5 hours. And obviously the longer the run we go on, we got to stop and snack them. But yeah, probably a good 5 to 7 hours usually. I wouldn't say every day, but probably like at least 5-6 days a week. So we usually try to give them a day or two off.
Thank you.
Sure, thanks. Combs? Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I let all of them loose here and there and let them kind of just run around. But most of the time, they're pretty much all work. I have a couple dogs that'll goof around and stuff like that. Like Kodiak here, he likes to always get belly rubs, and it's just a different personality than the other ones. But I have some other dogs that are just strictly business, and they don't want to play or anything. Depends on the dog.
What's your favorite food when you're on the trail?
I'd probably say Reese's peanut butter cups, I'd say. 'Cause even though they're cold, you can still eat them, because everything else is pretty much like froze. Like if you bring like Starburst out there or any type of gummy snacks or anything, everything's just rock hard. So I'd say they're probably the peanut butter cups or Twix. Cookies is good also. Thank you.
Okay, Charlie, we have one final question.
Okay, sure.
Do you name your dogs, and why do you think? Well, do you name your dogs?
Yeah, I do. I pretty much name all of them. Like Kodiak that I have right here, I named him after, that whole litter was bears. I went like Kodiak bear, grizzly, and brown and black. So, and then another one I did after, well, the reindeer is just going to be this next litter. And then the litter I had 2 litters in May. Those are named after trees, like willow and cedar, oak and stuff. Because I'm into landscaping, so I figured a nice tree litter would be named, would sound good.
Okay, thank you.
Sure, thank you.
So Charlie, we really appreciate you taking the time to Skype with us today. We loved seeing the dogs, and we wish you well in 2015 in the race coming up in 24 days. And we'll be watching you along the trail from when we're at lunch.
Okay, thank you so much, and then if you want to take a picture of your entire class, and I'll put it up on the website. I'm going to be working on the website the next couple of days.
Okay, perfect.
You know, I can say that I Skype with, you know, the students and everything. And thanks so much for, you know, taking time and Skyping with me. And I'd love to do a Skype